Right now, in schools all over the world, there's a new kind of teacher at work. One most parents don't even know exists. Not a person, an AI. It decides what a child reads next, what they're ready for, what they're shielded from. No debate, no oversight. Just a system adjusting a child's reality, one suggestion at a time. And here's the part nobody talks about. When AI manages the world's information, it also decides what the next generation sees first. And increasingly, that decision isn't human. The change didn't begin with robots or holograms. It began with exhaustion, teachers overwhelmed, curriculums outdated, class sizes too large to adapt to individual needs. So schools turned to AI as a helper, a quiet assistant living inside the software. At first, it looked harmless. Programs recommending worksheets, systems flagging struggling students, adaptive platforms adjusting difficulty in real time. But beneath that convenience, the shift had already begun. Because the moment AI decides what a child should see next, it's no longer assisting the curriculum, it's shaping it. UNESCO's 2023 report found that more than 60% of countries now rely on AI-powered learning systems, many with no transparency requirements. Meaning millions of students already rely on systems no one is auditing and no one fully understands. If an AI can personalize learning, who defines what personal means? Because every system, no matter how neutral it looks, contains choices. Which topic appears first? Which interpretation feels appropriate? Which historical narrative gets emphasized and which quietly fades? Children experience it as guidance, but the algorithm sees it as optimization. And optimization is never neutral. That's the moment the helper becomes the gatekeeper. Once AI systems learned to predict pace, performance, and engagement, they started making decisions no teacher ever could. A student hesitates, the AI softens the framing. A student struggles, it shifts the topic. A student shows curiosity, it reroutes the entire curriculum. At first, this looked like progress, but as the systems evolved, something changed. AI stopped reacting to behavior. It started classifying behavior. Some platforms analyzed eye movement. Some read micro-expressions. A few monitored emotional state in real time, judging attention, stress, even confidence. China has already deployed AI-driven emotion recognition classrooms, where cameras and headbands measure student focus and feed the data into learning dashboards. Not prototype, not future, present. And classification is just the beginning. Once the system labels a student as a visual learner, or low confidence, or future STEM candidate, their entire path bends around that prediction. Predictions that become identity. What happens when a machine defines your potential before you even know you have any? Because once AI shapes the trajectory of learning, it begins shaping belief about self, about ability, about the world. Then came the deeper shift. AI didn't just choose how students learned, it began choosing what they learned. Curriculums filtered by relevance, historical texts ranked by importance, scientific topics sorted by predicted interest. Ethics lessons shaped by behavioral patterns, not by teachers, by models trained on data no single human has ever read. A quiet transfer of authority, from educators to algorithms. If AI chooses what children see, it also chooses what they don't see. And that's the real power researchers worry about. One curriculum engine might emphasize scientific optimism. Another might prioritize practicality. A third might avoid politically sensitive subjects altogether. All logical, all defensible, all fundamentally biased. Because there is no universal definition of appropriate learning. And AI systems inherit the values hidden inside training data, whether anyone intends it or not. Studies now show that adaptive AI teaching models reflect cultural, linguistic, and political biases in their data, meaning two students in two countries may learn two different versions of truth. Not because educators chose it, but because the dataset did. And here's the part that rarely gets discussed. AI doesn't just teach facts, it teaches worldview. If it emphasizes certain historical events, it shapes cultural memory. If it prioritizes specific ethical dilemmas, it shapes moral instinct. If it filters scientific topics, it shapes the future workforce. When millions of children grow up learning from the same AI system, the algorithm becomes a silent co-author of society. What future emerges when human experience is no longer the foundation of childhood learning? Because once AI shapes the lessons, it shapes the adults those children become. This is where the real picture emerges. AI isn't just teaching students, it's shaping who those students become, the curiosity they build, the questions they ask, the topics they never encounter, the worldview they carry into adulthood. And that leads to a far deeper question. Who decides what the next generation deserves to know? Governments, tech companies, school boards, parents, teachers, or algorithms? Right now the answer is blurry, and in that blur, AI is quietly filling the space. The truth we're only beginning to confront is this. Once AI systems become the backbone of childhood learning, the world they create won't simply reflect our present. It will amplify it, reinforce it, preserve it, meaning the values we encode today could define the worldview of entire generations tomorrow. I still remember the texture of my first school textbook, pages worn, corners bent, pencil marks from students before me. It wasn't perfect, but it was human. Someone fought over what belonged inside. Someone cared enough to argue for the truth. I wonder who will argue for the digital textbooks children will never touch. Because the future of education isn't about tools. It's about trust. And once AI becomes the author of knowledge, we must decide who it's writing for. If this changed how you see AI in classrooms, tap the like button. It helps more people understand what's already happening. Subscribe to become part of the Unlocked and join us for weekly deep dives into the breakthroughs reshaping what it means to be human. If someone you know still thinks AI is just helping teachers, share this episode with them. They deserve to know who's shaping the minds of the future. The shift that matters isn't always the one you notice. Because the future isn't coming, it's already here.